want to start with DIDI, right? With China. I mean, holy cow.
Uber,
what happened there?
Uber of China, you know. Well, there's always a lot under the surface. And so did an initial public offering, Frank, just a couple days ago, surged. I think it was priced at $12 to $13, $14. It went over 16 at one time. And then what we always hype about and piss a lot of people off with, but why you have to pay attention to regulation and politics, right? Because China, those power enforcers over there, just literally pulled the plug. And this goes back, remember, I think last week we talked a little bit about Buffett and Munger and their Building Wealth or special on CNBC. And Munger was praising some of China's government and how quickly they get things done. So when they say jump, people say how high. When they say stop, stuff comes to a screeching halt. There's no slowing down. There's no speed limit detours in China. You don't go from 65 to 45 to 30. You go from 65 to 0. And so what happened was, basically their app store over in China said, hey, you have to take the DIDI hail service, ride servicing app off your platform. And it caused shares to plunge. And Frank, when shares plunge like that initially after the IPO, who gets hurt the worst?
Oh, of course, it's the retail investors. That's what it's all about. That's what everything's about, right? The whole market is based on, I'll say it, fucking the retail investor. And, they do that as much as they can. That's what IPOs are. And especially now in the format and stuff like that, you can be going on that, but just they come out crazy valuation. We'll talk about that because the Robinhood IPO, right?
Yep.
We saw that. I love looking at these S1s. That's where you can really break it down, the company. Few people look at them and just figure that out. But anyway, let's stay on DIDI here because, we're seeing that, and I put up the chart, which was funny.
Well, it's surged. And the big thing here for me is like, you could easily play Monday morning quarterback and say, hey, you should have seen this coming. You can never count for China to tell the truth. A lot of foreign governments, a lot of governments in general, are not so straightforward with people. It's easy to take that route, but this is a new data point that investors need to pay attention to. You really need to look at geopolitics and see where capital is going to flow. So you noticed, Frank, yesterday, China-related stocks, JD.com, Tencent, which is they own WeChat, which is, how would you describe WeChat over in China, Frank? Like the biggest and best instant messenger that everybody uses?
Yeah, where they track everything and provide, everything. Yeah, so basically WeChat's huge,
And all those shares sold to Alibaba, Jack Ma. Where is Jack Ma, Frank?
Today, I don't know where he's been. I mean, he did finally come out.
He did.
I thought he got,
basically said he's doing well.
Yeah, they say
his diet's working. He's losing weight and getting healthy.
Everything's well. But I don't know if you could really prepare for something like this. I mean, when we have the chart, the stock came out 14 a couple days ago on 30th, I believe it was, and then went up to 17 or 1650 about, and now it's all the way down to 11. But, Dave, how do you prepare for something like that when it doesn't seem like, but China obviously timed this, so they would screw them the most, right? So it's, hey, you could have did this before, and that's okay. And it makes you think that ByteDance, which may
your
be
favorite platform.
TikTok's the greatest thing ever. Holy cow. Don't go on TikTok. It's so great. I love TikTok. Oh, my God. TikTok is so... You just be laughing hysterically.
See, look, all I had to do, get you going. Look at that.
Okay, don't get me going on TikTok. Holy cow, is that addicting, and it's just really, really cool. It just, you're going to watch amazing, amazing videos tailored right to your needs. Anyway, ByteDance is going to be the biggest social media platform in the world. Everybody is copying them and their format because it's so amazing. But a lot of that has to do with collecting data, which is why, the Trump administration came out and said, and whether you agree or not, I don't want to get political here, but, they're collecting data. China's collecting data. But apparently with DIDI, I guess they're not collecting. I don't know. I mean, you think like all of China, the government's collecting data, but if that was the case, then they wouldn't be coming out and basically,
Well, the reason or justification is for consumer protection and cybersecurity threats and all that kind of stuff. So that's what the government over there is saying. Hey, this is potentially harmful to individuals and their data, so we're going to look out for you guys and protect all this. What's ironic about that is evidently you don't care about the people's data they already have, because when you take the app off, existing users of the DIDI app were still okay to use it, but you weren't allowed to have new users. Well, what does that do for a growth company and trying to get new revenue and new customers? To your point, who owns TikTok, Frank? What was it?
ByteDance.
ByteDance. They're looking to IPO. Did you see the valuation that they're talking about for private?
It's got to be, what is it, 100 billion plus?
Yeah, plus.
What is it?
So, first of all, I'll tease you with that for a minute. Instead of listing over here, they're looking at either listing in China or Hong Kong. Okay? So you have geopolitical powers competing for private capital or public capital in markets and economies. That's a big thing. We'll go down that road another time. $400 to $500 billion.
I was going to say, if that thing came out, I was really just going to say, Daniel, I was going to say, if that thing came out at a $300 billion valuation or lower, I would make that the largest position in my portfolio, because that thing is going to be $1 trillion. If you see what Facebook is, ByteDance is, that's the future of social media. That's the video platform. Everybody's copying it, but holy cow, it's just and people are on it for a real long time. It's just man. And when they're going to start generating a fortune through it.
Well, that kind of valuation, you talk about crazy, and hey, good for them. CNBC had a report where they were willing to accept a lower valuation, and they know they were going to get a lower valuation by listing somewhere else other than the United States, but they're okay with that. Why? Well, if you ask a simple-minded guy like me, it's because you want to walk the line on China and not have these regulatory crackdowns just like DIDI. The worst thing in the world is go public. How many lawsuits are they're facing? At least 2 here in the U.S. I mean, the low-hanging fruit, Frank, if you're a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, you're misleading in your disclosures. You didn't tell us that this was a risk. Now it's come out that China actually warned them not to go public and all that. You talk about just an absolute mess. And again, if you bought this stock anywhere after its IPO, and you're TV, down big, and now emotions are playing.
All over TV, right? People talking about on TV, right? Which, you talked about earlier. I kind of sidestepped your earlier question. How do you play this? Well, you either avoid it completely or you trade it, in my opinion. After it getting smacked, I think it was down almost another 10% today because it got pulled off basically the App Store version of China. Now it got pulled off of the WeChat and Alibaba. Yeah.
So it was down a little bit before we came on the air today. I don't know what it's doing right now. But as a trade, why wouldn't this thing spike, either trade it or stay away from it is my
how would it spike though?
I mean,
you see a company that when they get removed from these app stores, you're done. There's no place to download it now, right?
Right. But if you do certain things right over there and you get on the good side of China, they're one headline away from saying, we'll put this under review. Maybe we'll let them.
But you know what, Daniel? Getting on the right side of China seems like right because they were saying that they want to protect personal information, which is a joke to me. China's saying protect anything, but protect personal information. So they want to collect that data. This way, they could throw AI on it and study patterns. And again, that's great for advertising dollars. So basically, you're ruining their model of generating profits in social media. So even if they change that, that's kind of scary. And I know there's people. Listen. You really couldn't see it coming, no matter who you are. It happened. Maybe you'll see, 1 or 2 guys say, "Oh, it's right here, buried in a 500-page thing," where whatever. But it's hard to predict. And then you have, I know Jim Cramer was touting this, right? Which you said, and I think he's pretty pissed off now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could tell. I happened to catch a little bit of CNBC this morning when they were talking about it with the new app getting taken off of WeChat and Alibaba. He was actually calling on the SEC commissioner, is it Gensler? I don't have it in front of me, something like that, about, hey, why aren't you making an announcement of saying, hey, we're going to look into this, we're going to talk to Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, I forget the third lead underwriter in that group, which just plays into our thesis for Curzio Research Advisors, invest in the most crooked people in Wall Street, because Goldman Sachs,
they made their fees.
Let's say they end up paying fees. They're probably a third of whatever they made.
They're in this stock a lot lower, believe me. They made their fees. They're fine.
But, Cramer seeing that and saying, hey, the SEC should be after this. But what are you going to do? You're going to go over to China and tell them you're basically just going to segregate markets. Capital is going to have to decide where they want to list, where there's treated best. Ultimately, it will flow there. That's got to be bullish in the U.S. for the longer term. But you're going to miss out on some huge opportunities in growth stocks. But again, if the regulatory environment is so thick hanging over, why would you want to play that game?
Yeah. And one thing I will say about Cramer, because I know he was really pissed off, a lot of people, have their strong opinions on Cramer, but I would say from someone that worked for him, when he gets something wrong, you don't want to be around him. He's really pissed. And he's pissed because he understands the responsibility that he has, that so many people are listening to him. He'll take it out on a lot of employees, including us, the research analysts, but I kind of always liked that and respected that, because some people, just say, hey, this is going up, this is going down. They really don't care. Just that emotion shows that they care, and we're all going to get it wrong from time to time. So I'll defend him a little bit there, but no, I hear you. But this brings us to, I don't know if I want to talk about a bigger point here when it comes to China, but I mean, China is becoming more powerful than the United States, like right in front of our eyes. I mean, you see it on a political world where, everybody's on the take in China. I mean, you just look at the trail. It's so freaking easy. It's unbelievable, right? It's just why they're opening up. That's really what I think doomed Trump when he really started going after China and everything, because you're cutting off that money supply to so many people. But I mean, just the fact, ban this, ban that, and getting stronger and stronger. It's kind of crazy. It's just, how much news out of China, even with Bitcoin and mining and stuff like that. And by the way, crypto intelligence is coming out later today, and I recommended a stock based on that. That's going to be a huge beneficiary, but really, really good issue coming out, video issue for you, crypto intelligence, subscribers. But yeah, when I see this with China and how much power, it's just, and how it's getting greater and greater and greater, and just, look, it's the Hong Kong thing, Taiwan, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how that's going to, I don't know. I'm just, that's a risk down the line, later on, but man, it could get hostile. I think it might get hostile, but it's pretty crazy out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It really is when you look at it under the hood. I mean, it's not political, not anything. It's political in what they're doing, how they know they could just bribe our politicians and get whatever they want, make sure they get access to every organization, everything. But it's kind of crazy. And again, I'm talking about China's government. I've been to China. I love people in China. It's beautiful. I think it's great. But yeah, it's just, that's a little scary,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely it's going to cause volatility in the markets. There is risk for greater conflict in reality, but absolutely in the markets. So just be prepared for that, brace for that, and just know but pay attention, because it's good. The crackdown in crypto continues. They're cracking down on companies that help process transactions and different things. But crypto is doing what? It's holding 35. It's kind of marching back, bouncing around between 30 and 35,000.
See gold?
Yep. Now, I mentioned that this morning to you, and I was like, man, gold popped, I think, $20, $25 yesterday. It was up another 10 pre-market today. Don't know exactly what it is. 2 days aren't a big deal or a huge reversal, but it's something to pay attention to, because you talk about low-hanging fruit, that commodities and oil. We've talked about that a lot lately. But going forward, just pay attention to regulatory issues and just know that, hey, this is part of your investing world now. So know what ETFs you own, know what exposure you have. It's real enticing to invest in China because it's a huge growth market, but you have to remember the government can enforce rules overnight and they can change their mind just as quickly. So volatility, maybe look at it as a trading platform.
Yeah. And even going to into gold a little bit here too is, I mean, just one of the greatest environments in gold probably in the last 20 years. That's why I have a lot invested in gold. I don't know where it's going in the next couple of months or whatever, but I do know that it's inflation's coming. I know we're seeing the 10-year come down. People are saying, "Oh, it could be inflation." You're flooding the markets. Look at wages, wage growth. I mean, a lot of these numbers are getting crazy. Just look at the value of your home. But also, these guys are in perfect position, right? I mean, they're in a great position where supply is still limited. They can produce for under $1,000 an ounce. Where are we? Wherever 1,800, wherever we are today. These balance sheets have never been stronger. They're buying back stock. They pay dividends. And you talk about the producers here, and it's going to open up the door to, they need to find gold assets and projects. And that's going to open the door to junior miners with really good management teams and projects. But, it's a really good time to invest in gold. You're going to see the ups and downs. It's going to give you opportunity to buy things 10, 15% lower. But, if you have just a 2 to 4 year outlook, this is a great industry to invest in. And I haven't seen better conditions in the gold industry than what we're seeing right now, probably for 20 years.
You still with your price target of 2,000 by the end of the year?
I think we're going to hit 2,000 by the end of the year. Yeah, I really do. And
well, you're not far off, so that's pretty good.
I mean, no, actually, 2,000, but I think we could blow past that. I mean, I think we could be at 2,500. If we go past 2,000, I'm going to write 2,500.
I wish I could do my best auctioneer voice. We go 21, 22, 22.50.
Yeah, and look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's forecasting, and who knows if it's going to be December, who knows if it's going to be 3 months after that. So don't play it through options and have that time value in that. But I do know that it is going higher.